This is the Selected Podcast, your backstage pass and exclusive access to some of the biggest names in the tech industry. Brought to you by Sesamers, the definitive name in tech event media.
Hi there, this is Ben from Sesamers, recording live at VDS 2025 in Valencia. VDS is one of Europe's leading international tech events organized by Startup Valencia. This year it celebrates its 8th edition, bringing together more than 12,000 visitors from 120 countries, hundreds of speakers and investors at Valencia City of Arts and Sciences. Today I'm joined by Sacha Michaud, serial entrepreneur and co-founder of Glovo. Before Glovo, Sacha spent 9 years at Betfair, and even earlier he founded Latin Red, one of the largest Spanish-language ICPs, which was acquired by Startup Media in 1999. He's now investing with Yellow VC and championing Spain as a hub for innovation. Just earlier this morning, Sacha spoke on the main stage about the real road to unicorn. Sacha, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, no, thanks for the invite.
So you founded Latin Red in the late 90s during the first internet boom, then spent nearly a decade at Betfair, and then co-founded Glovo in 2015. That's like 3 distinct eras of tech. What is the thread that connects those experiences for you?
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, I've been very fortunate to have really got into tech very early in the 90s when literally the internet started. I remember having to explain to friends and family what an email was, imagine. And then I built a company called Latin Red, which the first product was a free email. It was literally a copy of Hotmail. That was the first real part of the internet. Then through gaming and through gambling, Betfair, which is now Flutter Entertainment, which is the largest online gambling company in the world. They're in the US. They've acquired a number of brands as well. PokerStars, very well known. That was an amazing experience. But the second phase for me has been mobile. So how, suddenly being always connected changed a lot of things of uses. And then, of course, Glovo is part of that. Now, Glovo, I think, has been a success thanks to the mobile. And a very good example, when I sold Latin Red in 99 to Star Media, which headquarters were in New York, and I had to move there and was there, VP of product, and then I later became actually CTO. There was a company very similar to Glovo going around with bicycles delivering everything in New York City. The problem then was it was through a desktop, of course, so it wasn't always on. That company ended up failing and everything. So it's also timing is very important. And so I've been able to live the beginning of the internet, the mobile change in the way we all connect to technology. And this third phase now is happening with AI, which is it's a buzzword, but it's true. And I think AI is going to be pretty much in every company, how they build things, how they build technology, both not just the wonderful stuff that the UX of the user, but underneath of how they facilitate processes and how they can do more with less. So I think it's a very exciting third phase that I'm about to live.
You mentioned, talking about timing, you sold Latin Red in 1999, just right before the dot-com crash.
Yeah.
Which maybe for some of the listeners, they don't even know that happened. What did you learn back then that you use afterwards when you started building Glovo?
Yeah, I mean, have your feet on the ground. There was a boom moment where everyone was just throwing money at any idea, especially in the US. A good example, the company who acquired Latin Red had received, in that time, it was May 1999 that we sold the company. So pre-IPO, Star Media did an IPO. They'd received $90 million pre-IPO. At that moment in time, it was the largest pre-IPO company in the history of the US. And we're talking $90 million, which seems peanuts now.
Right now it sounds like, yeah.
They were throwing money at every idea. And Star Media went on to have a $2 billion valuation with, I think, if I remember rightly, with $20 million revenue. I mean, if that wasn't a bubble. So what it taught is that you can, keep your feet on the ground. It's actually, it's cyclical, everything. And just because you've had a success doesn't mean that can fail very quickly. And if you have failures, well, also it's cyclical. Stick to it, be perseverance, and then success will come.
Did you have any failure yourself?
Yeah, loads. Yeah,
Loads.
You've only introduced me to the sort of successes. Yeah, but absolutely, and within those companies' failures as well, decisions that. But yeah, I mean, when I sold Latin Red, I thought, wow, I really know, and I think I set up 4 or 5 companies straight away with other co-founders, and wasn't really focused. They all failed, and that what taught me is it's not about good ideas, it's about focus and execution, and either you're on top of that. And to be successful, you have to be 150% focused. There's so many competitors out there who are who are smarter than you, work just as hard, and have. So that taught me that very quickly. Sacha, yeah.
It's I feel like it's a good transition. I wanted to ask you, when you started Glovo in 2015 with Oscar Pierre, the on-demand delivery space was already, I wouldn't say crowded, but there's already players, right?
There were. To be honest,
maybe not here in Spain.
Yeah, no. In Spain, there were companies. I mean, Just Eat was operating in Spain. It had almost, I'd say, 95% market share, but they had a different model. You'd order through their app or through their web, but they would send the orders to the restaurant. The restaurant would do the delivery. So the UX was not very good. 20% of orders would not even be delivered. The consumer didn't know whether to call Just Eat or call the restaurant. No visibility of what time is coming. So that was the opportunity that we thought with the tech stack to actually give a great UX, as in let users know what time it's going to be delivered, visibility of where the courier is in the city, and that was the game changer. And today, obviously, we're a market leader in Spain, and Just Eat, obviously, we call it Gen 1. In our industry, we call Gen 1 is the first phase, which was Just Eat, probably led in Europe, and now we're in Gen 2, which is what most of the market leaders are doing now.
And so, because maybe...
But just to answer your question,
yeah, please, sorry.
There wasn't big brands yet in Europe, but there were things happening. So Deliveroo was a very early company, only focused on restaurant food in the UK, was getting a lot of traction and a lot of investment. They later expanded into Europe. Delivery Hero, who ended up acquiring us, were also doing things in Europe with different brands. So it was happening, and we were focused on Southern Europe, so we quickly expanded into Italy, and then Uber, which was only ride-hailing, then decided to get into the space and built Uber Eats. So the space became very crowded very quickly and with a lot of capital.
I was about to ask, because maybe some people are not familiar with the Glovo app outside of the market, so you're operating in like 23 countries, that's it, and over 1,500 cities. One of the things that I've seen early on, at least, was that you could order many different things. In the early days, it was really one of the aspects that struck me when I tried Glovo.
Yeah, we've always believed, I say we, I think the founders have always believed in multi-category. When we launched Glovo, we were really thinking about not just restaurant food, which was already being delivered, not with a great UX, but it was being done, but everything else which wasn't being delivered immediately, right? And groceries obviously is a key category, and everything retail. So we really believed in that. Obviously, our customers started using us much more for restaurant food, so we decided to double down on that category first, make that user experience excellent, not focus so much on the other categories, not spread ourselves too thin, because you can't do everything. And we used restaurant and great UX to grow the business, and then we'd cross-sell to others, and obviously groceries is our second category, but then, pharmacy in many countries is probably electronics, we're even fashion. So anything retail suddenly becomes feasible with Glovo. And then a big game changer for all of us was COVID. So, which obviously made people not want to go out, and above all with supermarkets. So until then, we had our user base who were ordering with supermarkets, but not massive. Suddenly they had the obligation to do so, and supermarkets they were allowed to deliver. And users started using it and said, wow, this actually works. It's a really good UX and actually doesn't cost me that much. And what happened when COVID finished, obviously, that all those users continue using it because it's a very useful service. And above all, convenience is the first phase of groceries, not a planned purchase, not the big basket. If we go back to how most of us shop in the supermarket, we might well do the weekly or monthly shop, going to the supermarket and buying a lot of things, piling in our car. Some of that's moving online. The UK is the most advanced. I think they're getting close to 15 to 20% online supermarket. In Spain, it's still like 2 or 3%. So the planned purchase, but convenience is what we were really good at. So 5 or 6 items last minute, the stuff you normally pick up on the way home from work. I'm missing some ingredients for cooking, or I need some water. And that's where we really stepped in, and that's circular. So in the end, by being really convicted about multi-category and everything in your city is going to be delivered immediately concept, we had a major competitive advantage against our competitors. So in Europe, everyone was only doing restaurant food. But they've all moved into multi-category since. And we've had a lot of pains growing those categories. We've learned a lot. Built a lot of tech around that. So I think it gave us, I think, a competitive advantage to when COVID hit, which was obviously accidental, not strategic.
We're talking about the pain. Your talk this morning was titled "The Red Road to Unicorn: Great Chaos and Everything in Between." Can you share maybe one story from your journey with Glovo that was really like the chaos?
There was a lot. I mean, we grew very quickly.
How big?
In what sense? Sorry.
How many? Sorry. How many employees? How many users deliveries? How many drivers?
I mean, today, we've got over 100,000 riders delivering today in the world. We're in, as you mentioned, 22, 23 countries, different places. We're in Southern Europe, we're in Central Eastern Europe, we're in Central Asia, and we're in Africa. So we're in different places with very different moments in digitalization. And we've got 180,000 businesses on the platform. Most of those are restaurants, and most of those, about 90%, are SMEs. That's really important. We work with the large chains, of course, but SMEs, so these are retailers with maybe 1 or 2 establishments, are digitalizing their business through Glovo.
Yeah.
And most of those, their first sale ever online has been through Glovo, which I think is amazing, because I think one of the things that we've seen, and we talked about it a little bit, my career has been in the digital space. I think the last piece of digitalization has really been retail businesses. I mean, it's really starting to happen now, but they've been left behind by, online businesses. And I think there's, my vision is, I think retailers have an amazing opportunity, because right now they're the only ones really close to the consumer. So a good example would be Amazon. No, most of their products are literally thousands of kilometers away from the end consumer. They cannot deliver in 30 minutes. And consumers are wanting things quicker and earlier. And the only ones who can do that today are actually retailers, because they're the only ones in these urbanizations that are actually literally close to the consumer. And I think that's a massive opportunity. We call it quick commerce.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be the fastest growing area of e-commerce in the next decade. And I think there's a window of opportunity for retailers. That's large chains, of course, but it's also SMEs to take advantage of that. They can give a better service than these big, huge e-commerces that have warehouses very far away from consumers. And I think Glovo is going to be a piece of that makes it happen.
A story of chaos. Do you have any you would like to share?
Chaos, loads. I've got too many to share. I think just the fast growth. We went from 4 countries to 25 in less than a year.
In less than a year. When was it?
In Latin America, we launched Latin America. We later sold that part of the business, and we also expanded into Eastern Europe. So at the same time, so we were just like launching, literally a city every day, and it's pretty chaotic. Very great team. We created this launching team, which would just go from country to country and replicate the playbook.
And how did you distribute between Oscar, Pierre, and yourself when you were launching? Is there someone who was like more in charge of this?
We had an expansion team that they would double down, and then by then we had some really good guys in the team. Arnau has been with us from almost day one, and he built all the international business. He launched Latin America, and he's launched. So there's been it's not just a 2-man operation. There's been amazing people in the company that really. And we built these launching teams that we sent 3 or 4 people, super young, super smart, no problems traveling, and they would just go to a country, build the infrastructure, build the playbook, get that going. We'd hire GM, they let it go, and then they move to the next country. So I say controlled chaos, but it was fun, but it was chaotic.
And all of this ends up with an acquisition by Delivery Hero for 2.3 billion euros in 2022. Was it the plan? Did you knew it would be with them? Why did you decide to sell then? Any interesting learning from that?
They were an early investor, and we're probably here today thanks to them continually investing from early on every round. I think they always, it's clear Delivery Hero is a company who has some of the best brands in the world, and I think they always wanted to acquire Glovo. We wanted to try and stay independent. We wanted to, had our own dreams. But at the end, it made a lot of sense. They were a major shareholder of the company. Nicholas is an amazing guy. The NPJ, they were on our board of directors, so we knew them very well. And it just made a lot of sense to just be part of that. And also, we weren't competing with any of the other brands. So it just made and I think looking back, it was obviously the right decision because we sold at a time where we had to fundraise and the markets changed dramatically 3 or 4 months after the acquisition.
Timing was good.
It wasn't strategic. It was, but it would have been very difficult for us to fundraise, after that. So, and very happy. I mean, also, Delivery has got some amazing brands. I mean, Talabat, Pedidos Ya in Latin America, who acquired our Latin American business.
Were you doing already some angel investment back then yourself?
Yes, I've been angel investing for a number of years. And so I've been doing that probably since 7-8 years ago, less so. And before Yellow, I was doing quite a bit, and that's why we decided to set up Yellow.
Exit, then setting up Yellow. Tell me a bit more about the fund. What do you focus on there?
So, as I said, Oscar and myself were investing anyways, business angels. It was very chaotic, very emotional, like a business angel is. It's fun. Some of those have actually been quite relatively successful.
Did you invest together, or you tried to avoid investing together?
No, we've invested together. We've also invested apart. It's just, if I had a good thing, I'd definitely call Oscar, and he brings a lot of value, not just capital, and he luckily would call me. And then we thought it'd be great to set up a fund that aspired to do what we were doing, which is pre-seed, seed, and aspired to be one of the best European funds, and also establish that in Spain. We also have an office in Paris, of course, where Adam, and we thought we'd mix between an operator, so we're 2 operators, and an experienced investment team. So Adam comes from one of the biggest funds in Europe, Atomico. So bring that mix, I think, brings a unique quality. And the most important thing is we're still active operators. So I'm full on at Glovo, and Oscar's the CEO, obviously. And it's our spare time that we do it. So I think to be an active operator is very different from being an operator in the past, because once you start operating and then leave that space and you become something else, let's say a full-time investor, you actually lose very quickly touch of reality because tech is moving so quickly. Imagine somebody sold their company 5 years ago, got out of operations and moved into some other space. They've missed this first phase of this AI revolution, so they're not going to be in touch with it. I'm feeling the pains of AI within Glovo. Our departments are using it. Our engineers are using it. Our customer support's using it. This whole area. So I'm feeling that pain, and I think it would give me and us a lot more value to be to the investment team of our insights and also access. I have access to a lot of really good professionals, not just within my company, but the other Spanish, European startups. So I think active operator is the big difference than being just an operator.
Do you know other examples? Do you know other examples of people who are still active in the company?
To be honest, not that many.
And are really on the fund?
No, not that many,
to be honest.
I'm sure there are. I mean, I'm not saying,
I'll do my research.
No, most, operators trying, double down and just become investors or do other things, but...
Interesting. Is there a Glovo mafia, meaning former Glovo employees who started the startups?
Yeah, we don't call it mafia.
But what do you call it?
Well, other people, mafia. We call it Glovo House.
Okay.
Glovo alumni, but it's really Glovo House is the project within Glovo. It's interesting. So I think there's over 100 startups now have been created by ex-Glovo employees, which I think is amazing. I think our heritage in Glovo hopefully will be, hundreds of thousands of yellow bags, or maybe millions of yellow bags in the streets every day. But I think beyond that is going to be the massive companies that our employees make. And these are 100 companies who receive funding. And we call it Global House because we actually incentivize that within Glovo. We think, our thoughts are, if somebody is going to be an entrepreneur, and he's an amazing talent, we don't want to lose him in the company, of course. So you can try and retain that person, but we're going to lose him anyway. You can't. It's not about money. It's about aspirational to be an entrepreneur. So what we do is we actually flip it. So we've built this program that actually helps these entrepreneurs to get started, and it's a number of things, but it's obviously contacts, mentoring. We can help them with their business plan. We can find people in our network to mentor them. There's an investment, a crowdfunding investment group of ex-Glovo employees or non-Glovo employees that actually can help invest in the pre-seed stage. So we give them this. We call it Global House, and we're really excited.
Since when do you do it?
Sorry?
Since when do you have that?
It's been about 2 years old now.
Okay.
It was happening organically, by the way.
Yeah.
The entrepreneurs were setting up, and some really. So we just thought we'd sort of make it a little bit easier and make sure that employees knew that this existed. And ex-employees jump in as well. They come back and they say, "Hey, Global House," and so
So you're here at VDS in Valencia, and I was saying earlier that you are actively involved in sort of, growing and supporting the Spanish ecosystem. How do you see events like this one sort of play a role to support startups and innovation?
Yeah, I mean, I'm primarily here to support this initiative. As you know, I'm a big fan and feel very lucky, by the way. I was born in London. I'm British Canadian, but I've lived most of my life in Spain. I was very lucky to build a career in tech, and mainly based out of Barcelona. I had a time in New York, but generally, so to push and help Spanish tech ecosystem in any way I can is great. And I think Spain has a massive opportunity to be one of the leading countries in Europe. I think it's a hub of talent attraction, which is one of the three pieces. For me, it's a good regulatory framework, talent, and capital are the three things that really make it work. And I think Spain is number one for talent in Europe as a hub. If any smart person wants to live and maybe raise a family and build a company, Spain should be a place where you really think. And this event is turning out to be one of the biggest tech events in the region. I think it's 12,000 people will be attending, which I thought was incredible. Also, unbelievable amount of international people I'm seeing. So I'm speaking to people very excited. And we have a small but a great office here who are leading Glovo's region. They're doing an amazing job, making sure that we're market leader in this region. So, yeah.
Are you going to meet startups with your yellow hat as an investor, or not really?
I haven't planned to meet any startups here. I'm meeting some startups, but not necessarily with my yellow hat. Generally, a lot of yellow's, it's gaining quite a good brand here. So normally, when somebody's starting up something in Spain, they normally reach out to us, or we identify them as well. It's mutual. We have a team, obviously, who does a great job of that. So I'd like to think most startups
already
in Spain we're talking to. I'm obviously and also we co-invest. So that's the great thing about Yellow. We don't lead investment rounds, so we co-invest. So actually a lot of funds who lead rounds actually call us when they've identified something really good and say, "Hey, do you want to join us on this? We really like this company."
What is a typical ticket size?
It's around $500,000 is our and we're pre-seed seed.
And any categories, or
we're agnostic tech, mainly software. It doesn't mean that if a great hardware company came along that we'd invest, but we're mainly software to agnostic. Southern Europe, France, and Central Eastern Europe. We've invested in Germany and Switzerland.
Got it. If anybody here listening to this podcast is a founder and they want to connect with you or Yellow, where should they do it? Are you on LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, just reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Sacha, thank you so much for your time and joining us on the podcast today.
Thanks a lot.
We're recording live at VDS 2025 in Valencia. If you're enjoying these conversations, don't forget to subscribe to the Selected podcast for more stories from the founders and investors who've been through it all. And see you soon on Sesamers, the event co-pilot for startups.